Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to VE Universe. I am your humble host, Victor V, bringing to you another amazing reaction video. Today we are going to listen from Kelvin O'Leary, aka Mr. Wonderful of Shark Tank. Kevin is not only an entrepreneur, he is also a charismatic TV host of the famous Shark Tank. A great intelligent investor, he owns an ETF called O Shares, ticker symbol OUSA. Kevin will be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to creating a successful business. More practically, Kevin will be giving us what he thinks or what he has experienced so far as the TV host of Shark Tank. Kevin is on point and will break it down to us as we've never seen before. So ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, let's go. My YouTube analytics shows that over 75% of my viewers are not subscribed to my channel yet. So please press on the red juicy subscribe button and smash the bell icon to be notified anytime I upload a new video.
There is a growing sense, I think, maybe partly driven by the business interests or the consumer interests of the millennials, that it is part of a business's calling to either give something back, to do something good, to have a bigger social purpose or impact than merely to make money for the founders and the shareholders.
It's a huge debate in America. It's a huge debate in this room. It's a huge debate in every graduating cohort of engineers in America. It's a global debate going on. Now, I think there are some issues here, and I'll explain what they are. The backbone of success of our country and capitalism, and the most noble thing you can do in your life, in my opinion, is to start a business and create a job. There is nothing more noble than that. But when you take on that journey, you also, after you hire your first employee and have your first customer and your first shareholder, you have a responsibility of sustainability of the business, because you're now servicing customers. You have employees that you're responsible to maintain their jobs, their standard of living, their ability to have a family comes from you. Now, when you introduce a new mission, because the primary mission of a business is to take care of its customers, its employees, and its shareholders. That is the DNA of business. When all of a sudden you introduce a new cause, and let's just make it generic, we're going to save the world, whatever that means to somebody, you cause a mutation in the DNA of the business. Now, you could say, going to the Darwinian theory, that mutations create success, that you morph into something that's very successful. And there are analogies in business across multiple sectors, shoe companies, other companies that bring a cause into the model, and it's very successful because it's a connection to the customer in a way that's unique. If you can sustain that, you have brought it into the marketing aspect of what you are to your customer. And you've built it into your income statement, and it allows you to remain competitive and raise capital against your competitors, and you found a way to do something that they didn't do. That model, I appreciate, understand, and believe is a wonderful idea, because it's clearly the Ben and Jerry model. They cared a lot about their community. But when Ben and Jerry wanted to grow, and become a behemoth in the ice cream business, they ran into the ultimate problem of scalability of this. And they don't own it anymore because it was bought by someone who said, well, there's a cost of capital to making ice cream, the cost of protein, the cost of distribution. My question to everybody that pursues this is it sustainable enough that you can create a competitive entity that goes beyond your vision? It has to be something that creates a service or good in perpetuity for all of your customers. And what I find very often is people BS themselves. They say to themselves, I'm going to game the system. I'm going to tell everybody that if they buy a pair of socks from me, I'll give a pair to charity. I'll get lots of free press. The buyers at Walmart will want to see me because I'm doing something good. And I'll actually stay in business even though my costs are twice as high as my competitors. And you know what?
So you've got a problem with that. You've got a
Well, you know
problem
why?
with Tom
I'll tell you why I have a problem with it,
Warby
'cause it's-
Parker, whoever is doing that as part of their business.
I have a problem with it because it's bullshit. It's not sustainable. It doesn't work. Those companies are still calling me up saying I need to raise more money. But don't worry, profitability is right around the corner. No, it isn't. It isn't. The thing to understand about business and society is this. Last year, and part of it comes from right here in Seattle, was the largest amount of capital given back by entrepreneurs in the history of the planet Earth. From the profits of their successes of their companies. After the company had paid it back to the shareholders, they turned around and gave it all back. They didn't break the DNA of their business to do that. They created massive successes in Amazon, in Microsoft, in Google, in Facebook. And then they took the profits and paid it forward.
And that's where they did it. They didn't make it a part of the mission of the business.
They didn't try and save the world.
Why does it matter? Why does it matter whether you are a Tom's shoe company?
Very successful.
Very successful. They make money.
An example of a company that actually incorporated into their business model and was able to raise capital and build it in a way that kept them competitive and scaled. But what I find is, and this is why I give a big warning sign, is to take the social mission and say it's the primary mission of the business, and its DNA has now been more modified and has morphed into something else, and make that secondary to the shareholder, the customer, and the employee. That is not a successful model.
So it's a question, am I hearing you say, it's a question of the magnitude of the social mission so that it's in its place versus the real mission of the business, which is to take care of the customer, the shareholder, the employee, or is it something different? And you see what I'm saying? In other words,
I get it. What you're going to find.
If I flip it and I say my business's mission is to do good in the community and give shoes to people.
That is a very important mission. It's called charity.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a very important aspect of what every entrepreneur, I give the same percentage
give to charity
every year. But I
generous.
don't confuse that with the mission of my businesses. This is the challenge, and I'm not scared to say this. Business is war. There are competitors, winners, and losers. It's binary. You either make money or you lose it. You need to understand that as an entrepreneur. You have to embrace what that means to you and understand what it means to society. Your job is to make that business successful. It's to steal market share from your competitors. It's to salt the earth they used to walk on. It's to make sure you put them out of business and you achieve success. Then, and only then, after you have got all of those profits as being a successful business model, you give it back and you pay it forward. That is the model. That's how it works, and it's never going to change.
I want to. We had on one of the prior Iconics in Chicago, your fellow shark, Mark Cuban, and one of the things that was very interesting that he said, and he said it a couple of times. He said basically, I've made lots of mistakes in my career. I said, well, what do you do with those mistakes? What are you trying to learn from them? And I said, do you carry your mistakes with you? And he said, no, I cut them off, and I try and learn from them, but I don't let them weigh me down.
Yeah, I agree with him. I mean, we talk about that a lot.
You gotta let it go.
Well, because it's the same as investing. I spend a lot of time investing a lot of capital in the public markets and debt markets globally. you make mistakes. It's impossible to make 100% success in every stock you buy. It's the minute you start losing, you've got to take it behind the barn and shoot it. You have to sell it. And you have to realize, I hope I learned from that mistake, but you don't always. I rather invest in entrepreneurs that have had multiple failures before I meet them. I love the sting of failure as a motivational tool for somebody that wants to succeed versus somebody that says to me, well, I've never run a business. This is my first turbo baster. I'm showing it to you now. And that's, to me, that person isn't ready for prime time. I love what failure does to your way of thinking. It brings fear equation nailed down. And anybody in here that's pitching an online business, answer that question first. The first in your deck, after you've explained what the business does, let the second slide say customer acquisition cost, lifetime value. That's how you're going to get an investor interested, that you've somehow solved for that. Everything else is secondary. My number one question. My question is sustainability of your business model. I don't care if your market's 10 billion, 1 billion, 500 million. Am I going to get, sustainability to get 10%, 15% share of the market? I'm a quick study on this stuff. I can figure it out in a couple of minutes, whether it's going to work or not, based on your customer acquisition cost. What do you know that I don't know about getting a customer? Because I've done it in multiple sectors now. I know what works and what doesn't. The reason companies like, Bottle Breacher, they take ordnance, bullets, and turn them into wedding gifts. I mean, how crazy is that? But they know how to acquire customers, and they're wildly profitable. Same with cupcakes, same with wedding gifts. The question is, if you talk to Sarah, who runs Honey Fund, all she talks about is customer acquisition cost. That's it. That's 99.9999% of her business challenge. After that, she knows what to sell them.
Thank you.
So what I look for is teams that augment or solve for the leader's weakness. Because if you come and tell me, you're the CEO, you're the founder, you're the largest shareholder, that you know and you're perfect at everything, I know you're full of crap. That is so not true. Great entrepreneurs know their weaknesses and surround themselves with solutions. The logistics person, the marketing person, the accounting person, the saleswoman, the salesman. And I'll tell you guys a little secret here. When I look at new deals, existing companies that I'm being asked to either fund with debt or equity, the first thing I do is I don't take the meeting with the CEO. I ask to go and drink good wine with the man or woman running sales. And I say, look, I'm not available in that city, so I'll pay to fly her or him out to New York, and I'd like to just have dinner with them. And often the CFO who's trying to broker the deal says, no, I'll come with them. I said, no. I like to meet with the head of sales, and it's just kind of a ritual. That's how I work. And good wine, I'm talking good wine, and the head of sales, and 3 hours, and I can tell you everything about that company. Because the head of sales knows where things are buried. They know where the problems are with the customer base. They know where the opportunities are. And my point is, the CEO, the next meeting is with the CEO and the CFO. And if they know less than I do about their company from the salesperson, I know who to fire when I get control of that company. And it's not the head of sales. In my companies, there's no cap on the compensation for the man or woman that runs sales, ever. They're always the highest paid person, always. And so, talk about a team. You want to interview from the sales down. Without sales, you don't have a company. Get to know the sales team, then meet the logistics people, then meet, I tell you the truth, CEOs are fungible. You can get a new one anytime. They are the captain. And if they can't lead the ship, you got to swap them out. And I know that sounds terrible, but I help CEOs that are large shareholders get out of the way of success sometimes. I've done it multiple times now because they're not the right person. Team leaders, like great quarterbacks, understand what they're not good at. There's nothing worse than an arrogant CEO that thinks they're good at everything. I just can't wait to shoot them.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about the good, the bad, and the ugly from Kevin O'Leary? The secrets to creating a successful business. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Please press the red subscribe button and set on the notification to be notified anytime I upload a new video. Have a nice day, and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye now.